it seems. No,
it's so harder than it seems. You guys, welcome to episode 6 of Don't Cry Over Spilt Tea podcast.
Woo.
We have our first guest on today, so if you hear 3 voices, you're not insane.
We have Sage Pizza on. Lady boss, friend,
The
creator
pizza.
of our fabulous logo. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys.
We are
Thanks
so
for
stoked.
having me.
We're so stoked to have a guest, but more than that, we're so stoked to have you on the show.
Right.
Because,
You guys are sweet.
for lack of a better term, you're a bad bitch.
Right. She put a face to our project.
Our little baby. Me and
So-
Stephanie conceived this podcast together, and you named it. Well, you didn't name it.
She's like the
No.
godmother.
Yeah, you are the godmother
You're the
of this
godmother.
podcast.
Fuck.
If
All
anything
right.
ever happens to us, you have to continue the podcast.
You got it.
You're like, shit, no thank you.
It's like if me and Erin had no style and you're like the Oma that like knits all of our baby's clothes. It's like
Yeah,
you gave
totally.
her identity.
amazing.
I'll take it.
So, should we get goopy?
This week we had Sage pick out the goop. We want all of our guests to be a part of it.
Yeah, we pitched her a couple of goop ideas, and we were like, which one do you think is the goopiest that you could talk about?
So tell us which one you chose. Like, give the guests a little breakdown of what this is.
Just a little taste.
So essentially, if you have a cat and you don't want their butthole to be taken a photo of, I'd highly recommend getting this jewel that goes on top of it. What is
Not
it called?
the one you smoke.
Not that one.
Dude, you guys.
Twinkle
Tush.
Tush. So this is like...
Where do you want to begin with this? I don't know where to begin with this. This one's well, they're all a couple things. But
So-
this one is
First refer to our Instagram.
always.
We'll have a photo.
Check out the Instagram.
You know what I think of? I think of like... So this is like something you'd see on QVC, which is like the shopping network that like plays at like 3 o'clock in the morning when like, yeah, whatever. So I think of like those things that women buy to like hang on the table and their purse hangs on it. And then like...
Right.
And I don't know what
okay.
you call those, but like the part that sits on the table often has like some paisleys or like some sort of design. It's like that, but you slip it on the cat's tail and it covers their asshole.
Basically, to describe what this thing is, it's a jewel that covers your cat's asshole. And we say specifically cat because I think it's tailored to animals whose assholes constantly show.
Right.
Like on display. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of thinking a reverse necklace.
Oh god.
No, but that's what it looks like.
No,
it
yeah.
looks like you hang it on
A Christmas
a
ornament or
back of
something.
it. Also, what if a cat that like Garfield size
Like a
does it
thick-
like? Can you get? Yeah, like can you get like? I wonder if you can get
like
sizes. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if it's gonna hang around there, what if they're like a thick cat and it like hangs around their like butt area, but then also does it match up to the butthole? Like the gem is the radius of like an average cat butthole.
It has to be,
It has to
right?
be, 'cause then
it
that
can't
has
be
to
bigger than it.
That has to be the point of the
Can't
whole
be
thing.
smaller than
And it's
it.
like, does it sit inside the asshole?
I have like a few red flags. First one, shitting.
Yeah.
Have fun
Does your-
cleaning your Twinkle Tush.
Or does your cat like meow and he's like, I need to go, meow, like
slip it off, Mom.
yeah, like move the gem to the right. It's like when you're wearing a romper and you're like out drinking and
Oh,
you have to like
God.
move it to the right because you don't want to fully take off your whole romper. He's like, Mom, move it to the right.
Aaron
Like,
Picasso that for us. No, the other thing,
I have a question. They had to find the right size jewel for it, so that means they probably put like a quarter up to it or like things for
that's
reference,
such
right?
a good point.
Like
Yeah.
they
And they
really
had
had to dive deep into
Yeah.
the butthole.
here's what I want to know.
radius.
What percentage of the population is fucking bothered by a cat's asshole?
No,
It's
I
like-
know. No, I know. That's
when
what
I
I was
yell at my
thinking.
cat, I'm just like, you're paying rent soon. I'm not like, you guys look at your asshole all day. God damn it. Like, who's upset about that?
Yeah.
You know? And that's even weird that I'm like, you're paying rent next month to my cat. But like, anyway. I don't know
No, I think
who
it's a
the
good
fuck
point.
is like, I can't look at that thing anymore.
Yeah. Somebody's like, I'm
finished.
done. I'm done.
That's a breakdown.
And something that you said, Sage, is I'm thinking of them finding the radius for this thing and measuring a ton of different cats.
Yeah.
So you can't just take like the CEO's cat and be like, this is what every cat's butthole looks like. You had to be like, everybody, we need your cats, we need to measure their buttholes, and it had to be, for data purposes, like a range.
Can you imagine doing analytics for Twinkle Tush?
Oh my god.
Honestly, it's probably just some frat boy though.
Is it an animal rights violation of the cat's butthole?
This is so
But then I'm saying no because you're not putting anything in the butthole. You're just simply covering the butthole.
Uh-huh. don't know where you're going with that.
I don't know why you're not. I don't know. That's
I
a
think
valid
she's
question.
wants to
I'm
know.
saying, does anybody have an issue with it being harmful to the cat, or is it not harmful because you're just covering the
I mean,
butthole? You're
it's
not,
not
like,
a cat
sodomizing the
butt
cat.
plug. It's
That's
just
what
a cover.
okay,
Right, that's what my point was. This isn't sodomy.
Okay, but that was my point. That was my point.
Anyway, I want to bring up the price. $5.99.
Okay, fair.
Which is,
Yeah,
unlike
actually
our
fair.
other goops, not crazy expensive. But the tank top. Guys,
Okay.
you can buy a tank top.
How much is the tank top?
So this is becoming a
$30.
brand.
Oh my god.
Right?
So this
yeah.
is becoming a brand.
Yo,
So you can
yeah.
buy it, just for reference, and we'll put this on our Instagram too, you can buy a tank top, actually, that says Twinkle Tush on it. If you're not an employee, I don't know who the fuck is buying it. I would love to ask them if they've sold one of those. And if they sold one, I need the credit card address.
Like, I would get that as a gag gift for everyone in my family.
Yeah, but then you'd have to explain it to them. That just feels long. No, but it's not like a household name. No one's ever going to be like, hey, you got
Where'd
me
you
a
get
Twinkle
this?
Tush tank top. You're crazy. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's going to be like, what is
You're
this?
crazy.
Oh, I can't deal. These poor... This is cat shaming.
I think so,
Cats
too.
were born to have their buttholes out. And I don't think that there's... I know what you're saying. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't know why people are bothered by...
Yeah.
There being a butt... I mean, are dogs' buttholes out? I think so.
I don't know
It
enough
depends on the
dogs.
dog.
Yeah.
If they have... You don't know enough dogs?
Like,
That's a personal problem.
oh, I just have never, like, thought about, like, you know.
Yeah. I think maybe the thing is a cat's tail is always so much more upright
Yeah.
that the only thing to cover a butthole would be a tail.
Here's what I think. I think
know?
it draws more attention to that.
Exactly.
Though, if
I
you're
do
seeing a
too.
jewel constantly fly.
Yeah.
I
No,
got
my cat
nose.
doesn't need, like, ice on her ass. I feel like if I was, like... I wouldn't take that seriously. If she was, like, running around my bed with jewelry on, I'd be like, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
I also don't like my cat. So, for
Oh,
reference,
Chloe.
everybody, I have a cat who
Hates Aaron.
sucks.
Hates
Like-
Aaron.
No, she's actually a bully. Like, I got into a fist
If
fight.
anyone can humble Aaron, it's Chloe.
No, seriously, I got into a fist fight with her like a year ago. She does this thing where I fold all my laundry and it's like fresh and whatever, and I put it on my bed, and as I'm putting it away, she'll sit on every piece. And then I'll like pick up one piece and she'll go sit on another piece, and I'm like, this is, at this point, spiteful. It's not about like you being comfortable, you're being a bitch. Like, I
No,
don't.
2D goes in the litter box and then, like, goes on all the pillows.
No,
Like,
I
she
know that-
loves going on the
Cats,
pillows. She's
okay,
like,
but you love your cat, so anything she does is like cute for you. I didn't choose to get my cat. Yeah.
anyway,
So,
very goopy. Check
Very
out the Instagram page. Let us know what you think. If you are going to get this as a gag gift for Christmas this year, tell us. Like,
yeah.
I want to see that.
I want to see. I think it's pretty funny. If you're getting it for somebody as a joke, I'm okay with it. I think it's funny.
If it's serious,
If it's serious,
call the non-emergency line.
yeah.
Like,
If it's serious, I have a great therapist you can check
yeah.
out. But anyway.
Anyway, moving forward. This episode is all about you, Sage.
Damn.
We're basically going to pick your brain and kind of shed some light on the whole self-made entrepreneur.
What it looks like to be a young entrepreneur in
Yeah.
this generation, and especially with something like what you do, your line of work is, like we were saying earlier, relatively new. So I think what's really interesting about that is that we want to hear not only how you hustle yourself and market yourself, but how you got into something that is so,
Niche?
yeah, and like
Kind of upsetting, and I say upsetting not like
in
anybody's
a
upset.
positive way. Upsetting
Yeah,
the 9 to 5.
Upsetting, yeah, what success looks like for every generation basically until now. Because
Yeah.
this kind of goes back to
Yeah.
the topics that we've talked about before, you know, the social media stars and
Yeah.
the kids fucking unwrapping toys. Like,
You're doing a very professionalized version of something that feels pretty brand new.
yeah,
So
totally.
we want to shed some light on that. So to start, so you call yourself Sage Pizza
Yes.
on like your social media and all of that. Where did Sage Pizza come from?
Well, it happened when I decided I wanted to make an art Instagram, kind of like another outlet for my artwork. Because I
So
had,
not your personal.
yeah, I had a
Okay.
personal one,
Okay.
and I started to upload it on there. And I was like, no, I should make my own separate account, so they're
Okay.
not subjected to seeing my artwork. Like,
Totally.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I just wanted a place to do that. I never had the intention of what it's become.
Okay.
So,
That's
but on top
interesting.
of that, like, I wanted something that kind of was similar, like, reflected my artwork. I wanted something quirky, and my last name is really hard to pronounce. It doesn't...
What is your last name?
It's Ani, and
How's
it's
it spelled?
spelled A-U-N-E. So
I-
it looks like on...
It looks
Okay.
like...
Un,
Oh,
is
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
I thought it would be like it kind of sounds like the name of a precious stone.
Yeah, or like
you.
a German.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
So-
We're not making fun of your name.
No, it's
so.
a weird one. I hate it. But and my first name is already kind of strange, so it's like
Not even. Super
wanted,
cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very gender neutral.
Yeah.
But,
Somebody last night told us that their niece may be named Rosemary. Like, I love all of, like,
The sage.
Time.
parsley,
Yeah.
sage, or rosemary.
I like
and
may or
thyme.
may not name my kid Basil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out Simon and Garfunkel.
So, that's where that came from.
Yeah. I wanted something that would be easy to remember because I was like, what if somebody did like my artwork, or what if I did end up wanting to sell it? Like, people aren't going to. What if they were like, oh, there's this artist, Sage something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Totally.
Sage
That's a
Pizza,
really good
people
point.
remember that, and like if people see me, they're like, "Oh, you're Sage Pizza," and I'm like,
Dude,
yeah.
I call you Sage because I know
Yeah.
you. I know you in our personal lives,
Yeah.
and you're the pizza.
So, what do people, like, how do you describe yourself, your job, when people meet you? Like, what's the title, and then how do you kind of, like, water it down?
Well, people, yeah, I would say that I'm a freelance graphic designer
Okay,
or
okay.
illustrator. That's usually what I say.
So when
I like
you-
Illustrator.
I think
Yeah,
that
I
sounds
like
really
that.
cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So when you go to a bar and someone's like, "What do you do?" and someone's like, "Oh, I work in insurance," you're like, "I'm a freelance graphic designer."
Yeah.
God, that's so much cooler than
So
anything
cool.
I've ever done.
Yeah, same. No.
Like,
same.
holy shit.
So I imagine people's next question is like, what does your day look like? Like, what is that
Yeah.
lifestyle like?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, it's nice because I work for myself, so I just make my own
Amazing.
schedule, which is great. So, I am not really a morning person. I would definitely say I'm a night owl. So,
Yeah.
I wake up probably at like 9:30.
Oh my gosh, I was
I
expecting
hate
much
myself for
worse.
saying that.
Oh,
out
no,
loud.
no,
But
no.
sometimes later.
Oh, God, I
Dude,
thought you were
yeah.
going to say, like, noon.
No, I'm
No.
rocking 10:45 some days.
Yeah.
Like Saturdays.
I don't
Weirdly,
know,
I've been around the 8:13 range for, like, the past couple
That's
months.
good.
Me too.
But,
8:13.
yeah.
Not 8:15.
Well,
8:13.
I guesstimate that because it's usually between 8:10 and 8:20. And it, yeah. So,
8:13.
8:13.
Not really in between exactly,
Yeah,
but
roughly.
Affirm
good enough.
8:13.
I'm
Yeah.
a thorough gal.
But yeah, so I think because I have so many friends that are like corporate slaves, they get up at like 7, 6 or 7.
Right, so you're saying
I feel
9:30
very
feels late
guilty.
to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I
see
think
People
what you're
give me a lot of shit.
No, I mean, I think it's cool because, like, whenever I take Ubers, you know, I'm just, like, you know, asking them questions, obviously, but they're just, like, I make my own schedule. That's, like, the biggest part of this. Like, it's so cool that you have that.
Yeah, might as well take
That's a
advantage
huge
of it.
perk.
I would say for a fact, the number one reason people leave jobs is because of management. I
Yeah.
feel like it always comes down to that.
And I think
Hey,
you should
can take an L4. Hours, you can take an L4.
totally. I think you should
Management?
relish in the fact that you deserve the spot that you're at.
Totally.
And you worked hard to get there. But so did you always know that you wanted to be a graphic designer?
I wouldn't say I knew I wanted to be that job title, but I've always known since I was a kid that I wanted to be an artist.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, that was like the
So it
first
was-
thing I ever said I wanted to be. I was like,
Okay.
I want to be an artist.
Wow.
Which
so
is
you
like
actually
seldom
lived up to
people-
what you said you were going to be.
People never
Yeah.
really get to manifest, like,
Oh, it's weird.
I wanted to be
yeah.
a bus driver because, like, the steering wheel was very big and it looked fun.
Dude,
You know
when
what
I
mean?
was a
Like,
kid, the things I wanted to be were ridiculous. I was looking at my preschool yearbook like a year ago, and it literally said dream job. I said I wanted to work at Albertsons and ready, and a CD store. So I wanted to have 2 jobs
Amazing.
that were both mediocre as hell, and that was my aspirations. And it's just like a picture of me with like a medal around my neck. I'm like, ting.
But
Anyway.
a question that I have about you wanting to be that as a child, I feel like a lot of people in our generation, and more so in past generations, art is not something that parents always support. Were your parents always supportive
Oh
of
yeah.
that?
So I would say yes and no. Like both of my parents are very creative, but they don't necessarily have jobs in the creative field. I mean they do.
Okay.
Like my mom's a hairstylist, so that has some
Totally
kind
an
of,
art
I think
and
form.
my
yeah,
dad
definitely.
does pottery. So
Oh my god.
Everybody does pottery.
I mean he's also like a handyman, so I don't know. But I
Okay.
think they wanted more for me. So they knew, they were like, yeah, you're going to college.
Okay.
This and that. But I definitely lost my way because I did feel that pressure, like, you're not going to make money off of art. So when in high school, I was like, okay, what would I make money off of? And I thought I would have to enter something in the healthcare field. So, like,
Okay.
my actual, like, when I did graduate high school, I went to ASU for exercise and wellness. I thought I was going to be a physical therapist. So, like, I kind of let that go a little bit. So
So
I
that
didn't
was
really
actually-
take it seriously.
So that was actually the next thing I was going to ask you is, do you have education past high school, and what is it in? And did you have any graphic design education, or did you just like teach all that to yourself?
No, okay, so high school I didn't learn any graphic design or anything. I know some schools do, like I think Arcadia does. Yeah, I went to ASU for like a semester and I hated it. And then I switched my degree again. I ended up going to Phoenix College and I went for business. And I did that for about a year. Wasn't really like feeling it. And I was kind of like in the slump. I think I was like 21-ish. And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna fucking do. Like, I was working in a restaurant, and I was like, what makes me happy? And, like, I kind of took a step down from my job. Like, I started working less, and I, like, started focusing more on art. Like, getting back into doing that. Like, it was kind of just, like, a creative outlet, like, kind of a stress reliever. Like, an escape, because I wasn't really happy with what I was doing. And my mom was like, hey, why don't you go to school for graphic design? Like, it didn't even hit me. Like, for some reason, that title didn't even occur to me. Wow. But I always knew I wanted to make something, like, digitally. Like, with my artwork, I always knew pen and paper, but I don't know, it just didn't occur to me. And then she's like, yeah, let's go to the Art Institute. Like, why don't you go to a trade school? Like, since you've already spent all this time, like, doing bullshitting around, why don't you get to the point and go to, like, a real trade school? And I ended up touring it, and I was like, yeah, this is where I want to go. That's awesome. And I loved it.
So how long did you go there?
I got my associate's degree, so I was there for about 2 years.
Okay.
And I graduated in 2016.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it definitely took it was a long journey to get there. Like,
so do you feel like that really contributed to your success? Like, can you say that going there taught you what you needed to know to be able to self-hustle?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think everybody needs that, though. Okay. I actually like
do any of your employers ask?
Luckily, in my field, you don't need a degree. Okay. I mean, unless you wanted to work in an agency, they do expect that. But, like, at the end of the day, they're looking at your portfolio, what you've done. And if you can show that that's your artwork, that's what your skill set.
But do you feel like your stuff, for lack of a better term, like, got way better in your portfolio after going to graphic design school?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know how to use Adobe Illustrator. I didn't know how to use any of the creative suites, until I went there. Okay. So, and it also opened my eyes to other things that I could do with those programs. Like, I went just because, like, I always wanted to make greeting cards, and I was like, I want to make fucking cards and have them in Urban Outfitters. Like, that's what I said I wanted. And that was, like, my goal when I went to AI. And then I learned more about how to use the programs and, like, oh, okay, you actually make logos with this shit, and you do package design, and you're doing all this branding. Like, those were things I didn't really have in mind. Like, I was definitely more focused, I think, illustration route.
Yeah. But it taught
so I learned a lot of other things, which, is very helpful as a freelancer.
I kind of have, like, a two-way question about that. So when you go in, I'm sure you have, like, because I had a friend in graphic design, they had a lot of different projects. Do you stay true to your style when you had all of those assignments? Because I know, like, my friend had to do, like, tea bags, and then they had to, like, design a tea bag, and then they had to do, like, a can label, and, like, do you stay true to your style?
Back when I was in school.
Right. And did you have that style?
Yeah. Then? I look back at, like, what I made then, and I'm still, like, proud of what I made. I think sometimes I struggle with that in a way, like, even to this day when I work with different clients. Like, sometimes they'll ask me to make something that's not my vibe. And I'm like, why would you come to me then? Like, even though I can use the program and can make that, wouldn't you rather go to somebody that is, like, tailored to that style? Like, don't ask me to make a logo that's, like, for a bank or something. Like, you know what I mean? I'm more, like, fun illustration type thing.
That's why I feel like when me and you, Stephanie, were brainstorming about our podcast logo, we were like, we both said from the get-go, before I even thought of you, we were like, our logo means everything. Like, it has to represent what we feel in our... it's set the tone for our whole podcast. Like, the way that looks. Yeah. Like, so when we thought of you, I was like, if she'll do it for us, like, she's gonna be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember when I first showed you Sage's page, you were like, oh, no, we have to get this girl.
Absolutely sold.
We have to, yeah. So you would consider yourself an entrepreneur then?
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you define that term?
I would say for me, I mean, basically, if you can turn your passion into, if you can make money off of your passion, that to me is, like, you're making it.
I love that. I love how simplified. I mean?
Seriously. Yeah. And that could be, like, a definition for personal success, too. Yeah. Like, you know.
Definitely, and being your own boss, too, while you're at it. And if you can support yourself doing what you love, and you don't have anybody else telling you what to do, like
That's
is
a
like the
win.
ultimate dream.
Yeah, and you can, like, actually, I think a lot of people lose their integrity in their careers, and, like, people that are their own bosses, like, can hold on to their integrity, which is really powerful. And speaking of being your own boss, your tasks are very multifaceted. You basically have 5 jobs. You're doing marketing, you know, the product itself, you're a manager, you're accountant. What is that? Is that hard?
Like, what does your hustle look like from start to finish?
Yeah.
Well, I like to say to anybody who does want to be their own boss, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, find many ways to use your skill set and find multiple side hustles. Like, if I only just did freelance graphic design, I don't feel comfortable just only supporting myself that way. Like, I like to make things in my spare time. Like, if I don't have client work, I'm working on something else for myself to upload online. Or, you know, I have a side job just for, like, extra money as well. You know what I mean? So, I like to find multiple ways to, one, stay busy, and, like, keep doing what I want to do. And if you love what you do, like, you don't mind doing it as often. Like, you're thinking about it all the time. I mean, at least I am. I don't know. I'm always thinking about my job and, like, how I can make it better. Or, like, how I can make money off of it, I
So
guess.
do you have clients... I'm sure that your answer will probably be, like, a mix of a few things.
Yeah.
But do you have clients approach you? Or do you approach clients? Do you do both? And then you also sell your stuff on your own page. So kind of walk us through the different types of jobs that you do.
Okay. Well, most of my freelance work, 100% of my freelance work comes through either people finding me on Instagram, or they found me maybe on a website, maybe through another client I've done work for. And they're like, hey, I saw you did this for, like, Teen Vogue. We wanted to reach out to you, and if you do something similar.
That is so cool.
Yeah, you're like, dude, Teen Vogue.
That's badass.
Wow.
Yeah. Just like, but people find me through my Instagram, so I'll get DMs or emails, and that's how I find work, essentially. Okay. But luckily, I mean,
so cool.
I think I'm busy enough to be able to turn down jobs if I'm like, you know what, I don't think I'm the right person for that. Like,
yeah, okay,
you know what
that's
I mean?
good.
But I mostly say yes to pretty much everything if I can, or if I have the time for it, but yeah.
So you have a website where you sell your own stuff as well.
Yeah.
Right? So
I
you
have
can
a
get
couple
anything.
websites.
Okay. Walk us through that.
Well, I think if you're an artist, you should definitely have your artwork on Society 6 or like any other print-on-demand company, like Redbubble, things like that, because you don't even have to lift a finger. You just make your artwork, you upload it, you put the dimensions in, and then they can put it on anything. Yeah. When I was going to school, and when I did just make that new Instagram account, and I did start putting it on Society 6, and when people actually started buying it, I was like, oh shit, like, people like what I'm making. Like, I kind of just did it just for fun, because I was like, ooh, if I put it on a phone case, like, I'm gonna buy it, because I think that's cool. Like, I didn't have the intention really that people would buy it.
Right.
I don't know, I just didn't really, I don't know.
That's
it's
like
still
so cool, I know.
It blows my mind still, I don't get it. Like,
so, but speaking of all of your products, do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite, like, graphic?
Yeah, or yeah.
Well, it's funny because when I make something and I put it on my Instagram, I'm like obsessed with it. Usually I love it. And I'll be like looking at it all the time, like, oh, this is so, like, I love it. It's the best thing I made. And then like a week later, I'm like, God, I can't fucking look at it anymore. So I actually don't want to see any of my artwork. Like, I've had roommates that were like, hey, let's post your, like, let's have your stuff around the house. I'm like, please don't.
Really?
I don't want to see it.
Wow,
yeah.
that is interesting to me.
Because to me, it's just like, it's like a creative outlet for me, and it's usually based on what I'm feeling in that moment. I see it on my Instagram.
See it a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to be that person that's like carrying around my own shit all the time. Like, oh,
yeah,
look at
I get
me.
that.
Like, this is my fucking phone case.
But
then
again, I mean,
sometimes
confidence and arrogance aren't the same thing. I mean, by the way, check out our page, Sage Pizza, to die for.
Yeah.
Where can we find you?
I would definitely say Instagram, because I post about things you can buy if I make anything new, and I attach a link. So right now I have my Etsy page up where you can buy stickers, or you can go on Society 6 and buy more things like phone cases, things like that. And then I do have like tapestries and phone cases at Urban Outfitters.
Urban Outfitters.
Yeah, that is crazy. When I saw you, you know, it's so funny. Quick story for anybody listening. I was looking at Urban Outfitters was having like a home sale, and I was looking at all their different stuff, and I saw this tapestry, and I was like, that's such a sick tapestry, so I click on it, whatever, and then it's like, Sage Pizza Tapestry. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I know her.
Wait, so what was it of?
I shit myself. I called you. What?
What was the tapestry of?
It was the,
Was it the beer one? Or the wine one?
No, it was the coffee.
Oh, the
It was
coffee.
the
So
coffee.
it's
Yeah.
a tarot card.
Oh, yeah, and it's like basically like pray to the coffee.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's so funny.
So
and I
true.
was like, that's amazing. And this was before I'd seen that graphic of yours.
Oh, wow.
And I knew I kind of recognized, like, because I clicked on it probably because I was like, that's cool. And I kind of recognized it or something. And then I was like, oh my God. So speaking of cool moments, what do you think, I don't know if you've had this, but have you ever, when it comes to your success and your increase in success, what was like that I've made it moment for you, if you've had it?
Ooh,
no, I've
good
definitely had it,
question.
and like I still have those moments. Like I still have pinch me moments. It's still
Pinch me moment. That's a
yeah.
good way to put it.
The first one I would say, like the first one where I was like, oh my God, like shaking to the core was when PacSun reached out to me.
Dude.
And they emailed me and they're like, hey, we want to have your phone cases in the stores. And I was like, shut the fuck up.
Oh
like,
my God, because
because
we're all
that's a
raised
store,
on PacSun.
yeah, like
Oh,
I
yeah.
would go to.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck.
But
You
also
got
Urban
something-
Outfitters. I feel like that's a big one,
but
too.
PacSun was like the first one. That was
the
the
first
first
one,
big one
okay.
that happened because I do my phone cases through another company called Recover, and Recover is in a lot of stores. So like PacSun, and eventually Urban Outfitters buys from Recover as well.
Got
so
it.
that's how I got it in
Wow.
there too.
Like, even in this short amount of time we've been talking, you're talking about Teen Vogue, you're talking about PacSun, Urban Outfitters. Like, there are names on this floor. We are name dropping right now. These are big companies.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
I know, it's still
That's a
freaks
huge,
me out.
yeah, I'm like, you dropped a name.
You dropped
there
it.
you go. But honestly, that's a huge deal. Do you consider yourself successful?
I feel like, yeah, this year has been a really good year, career-wise, so far. I think it's only gotten better, too. And none of this was what I was expecting. So it still is like, oh shit, every time. And I'm just even flattered. Anytime somebody tags me in something, and I'm like, they bought my phone case or something, I'm like, fuck, like, you actually like it enough that you bought it, and also posted it, and you're thanking me. Like, that still freaks me out. And then the fact that, like, people ask me to make shit for their business, like,
So
that's
cool.
a big deal. I still think
bet
that's
cool.
like,
And I think
Yeah.
that probably ties into like your success. You don't have to like cold call. You don't have
Yeah.
to go door to door.
Yeah.
It's like,
People are coming to you.
and you're approachable.
and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah,
like,
I know
It's
a lot
unreal.
of actors say, like, there's a lot of actors that say their kind of I've made it moment was when, instead of going on auditions and constantly hustling for absolutely anything they could get, the power to start being a little bit more selective with what they do, like what you
Right.
said, and the power of maybe people coming to them with a script is when they feel like they've made it. Because
Yeah.
when you have, I've read this in a self-help book too, like when you have the power over your own decisions, that's in like what you do, that's actually what a lot of people consider success, is like
Right.
when they can have more of a say in what they're doing and it not affect their paycheck or not affect their, you know what I mean, to kind of be able to make some of your own decisions. So
Right.
that's my definition of success, and by my definition, you are incredibly successful.
So clink clink to
Yeah. Ching ching.
you. But
So do you find it difficult to be the only person? You are your brand, and there is nobody that helps you, and there's nobody that like advises you. You don't have a marketer, you don't have a business manager,
Right,
you don't
like,
have an
accountant,
agent,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
an accountant. So how did you learn how to, honestly, the art part of it aside, because
Yeah.
you being the artist
Yeah.
is not what is, that's goes without saying, but you kind of knowing what to charge for your print, like how did you
Right.
learn all of that?
Yeah, I would definitely say trial and error. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's difficult because I like working alone and I like that I don't have to deal with anybody else. Like I don't have a boss, so I can just kind of do whatever the fuck I want.
hashtag
But-
lady boss.
Yeah.
Hashtag lady boss.
But yeah, definitely a lot of trial and error. Like I'm still figuring things out, you know. But the pricing,
Gracefully.
I think I just always wanted to stay true with like I never want to rip people off. I want them to feel like
Right.
Of
they're
course.
getting what they're paying for, and I know so many graphic designers, or I've heard stories of like people that will charge for every little thing, and I'm like, that's kind of a dickhead move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want them to be able to feel like they're getting what they paid for, maybe even more than what they were expecting.
Yeah.
Right.
I want them to walk away happy and content, because at the end of the day, this is something that's branding them. Like, that's a big deal.
Just with our podcast, for example, whether or not people even listen to this or know anything, I've had multiple people say your logo's really cool, or like the way,
like, that's another way of marketing myself. Like,
Yeah.
if
Right.
I make something for a client, like, I also want to like it enough too that I could even maybe post it on Instagram. Like, I was so
Totally.
stoked on the logo I made for you guys. Like,
It's
I wanted to
amazing.
post
Cool.
it immediately. Like,
she
it was
is
so hard
gorgeous.
not to.
We love her.
I love it. I just think marketing's half the battle. Like,
Yeah.
I work with, like, beer, and, like, just looking into a case, I try the beers that have beautiful cans.
Whether we're conscious of it or subconscious of it, like if something looks cool, we're going to be more attracted to it.
Yeah.
It's just the case. That's why I think things like Instagram and
Yeah.
platforms like that have really flourished so much, because everyone's
Totally.
like, I want my shit to look cool.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think of a lot of, like, products right now that are marketing to millennials that are, like, Glossier. Like,
Yeah.
the aesthetic is so on point. Nowadays, everything's about, like, is it Instagram worthy?
Yeah. Is
Sure.
it,
Instagrammable.
It's like
Yeah.
the new way to network. I mean, it's just networking. That's
Yeah.
really what it is. So for the future, I kind of want to like talk about the future. Would you ever consider changing up your current style? Because Sage Pizza,
Yeah.
like, and everybody go look on our Instagram, has a very,
Distinct.
it has a look.
Yeah.
It totally has a
And,
look.
like, I guess in a broader sense, what does it look like for somebody that has solidified their style and then wants to pivot? Like, is that as hard as it sounds?
A little bit, but I think my style is constantly evolving. Like, I still have some artwork that I made when I first started out, and I was like, wow, okay, my shit's changed. But I think the overall core of it, like,
It's still
my
kind of the same.
aesthetic is still very similar. I think with my skill set and trying new things, like, I hope to just get better and better. Like,
Sure.
to me, my shit still feels amateur. Like, I would like to learn more. Like, that's another thing I'm kind of bummed about, like, that I didn't get my bachelor's degree. Like, I feel like there's still so many more things I could have learned, but I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing.
There's
and-
always time,
yeah.
yeah. There's
yeah,
always time.
exactly. So, I don't know if my style would change, but I just hope my shit just gets better.
Of
Yeah,
course.
it get better.
And speaking of the future, what does the future look like for you? What is the next 10 years? I mean,
Yeah, in a
walk
perfect
us through
world,
that.
where are you in 10 years, and where is your, what does success look like for you in the future?
Yeah. I mean, I'm really content with how things are right now. And, like, I'm still having those oh shit moments. But I
Yeah.
definitely want to work with bigger clients and, like, have my shit more out there. Like,
yeah.
I was just telling somebody the other day, there's an artist I follow who I feel like is kind of similar to me in age. And she does illustration. And she's starting to get traction. And, like, I guess one day she did a advertisement for some company. And somebody saw it in an airport. Like,
Wow.
I even feel like, holy shit, my,
Stuff is in an airport.
yeah.
Do you have any,
That's
like,
pretty wild.
big projects in the work with, like, any...
There it
lined
sucks
up
because
and
there are things that I'll make and it won't be posted about for months and months and months. So, like,
Right.
I just went through, like, I would say 3 different projects that I'm really stoked about, and I can't even post about them.
So I want to talk about something, because I feel like I can't believe we've been talking for this long and haven't brought this up, but you worked for Snapchat.
Yeah, I had so much pressure on
The
for the
first time
first time
around,
because I was
yeah.
like, if I fucking nail this, or if they like it enough, they could have potentially hired me to do
No,
more
that's
work.
a big deal. That's a
No,
big
yeah.
account to
Yeah.
like,
So
want
what-
to solidify.
What, like, part of Snapchat? What were you doing? Were you doing tags?
Yeah, so, like, they reached out to me, they found my artwork on Instagram, they emailed me, and they're like, hey, we love your style, we'd be interested in you designing, like, so the first time they reached out to me, they asked me if I would make Snapchat stickers for the city of Amsterdam, and,
So
yeah.
Oh my god,
I
yes,
know,
I remember
yes.
those. That was
Yes.
awesome.
So cool.
That was
And I
awesome.
was so stoked, I was like, okay, shit, I've never been to Amsterdam, okay, I'll make this work. So I just had to do a lot of research on Amsterdam because I wanted to incorporate what would be reflected
Yeah,
of
I
the
remember we
city.
talked about
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
exactly. So that
Yeah.
was like, that was fucking crazy. But it was a bummer at the same time because I was like, wow, I can't even use them. So then the second time,
Right.
What a reason
right?
to go to Amsterdam.
Yeah, I know. And so the second time they reached out to me, I was like, oh my god, they really want me to do more work. And it was like, they asked me to do celebrity filters. So, like, celebrities that use Snapchat, they get their own, like, name filter that they could add onto their story. But the last one that they asked me to do was a sticker pack, which was cool because I knew I would actually be able to use them.
Right.
Because I was like, I
Yeah.
can't even use this. Like, I wish I could see it in action. Like, I could use it. So when they actually asked me to do, like, my own artist edition of, like, a Snapchat package, like, I was stoked.
That's
And,
really
like,
cool.
Can
Yeah.
people get that now?
No, so it was only for, like, a 3-day window.
Got
and
it.
if you saw it and you had the update, you could save it.
I
So, like,
didn't-
now
yeah.
I have it saved. So I
Can
can
I
use it.
yeah, I wanna see
Yeah,
it.
I
and,
wanna
like,
see
what
that
was
too.
cool, I love Snapchat because they're very open about like, whatever your vibe is, like, they just trust you completely. Like, they're like, hey, come up with your own theme, just make 30 stickers. I think they asked every artist to do 30, and then they selected only
Caffeine
15
queen?
of
Like,
the 30.
Can
yeah.
you sketch a tattoo for me, please? I
Seriously.
want to get a tattoo.
No, seriously.
Wait, I had the craziest dream last night that somebody held me down and gave me 7 tattoos that I didn't like. And you know what's funny? It was 7. It was specifically 7. And I remember being like, dude, I don't want this to happen. And then I was walking around for the rest of my life with these, like, shitty tattoos.
Do you guys know Chantel Jeffries?
Yes.
She used one of my stickers too
Wow.
on her cat. The It's a Vibe one. She put it on her
Shut
cat.
up.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
okay,
cool.
here's my question.
Yeah.
How did you find that?
Somebody sent it to me.
That is
She was
so
like,
cool.
"Oh, by the way."
I love it. You are
They're so
actually
cool. We
doing
can't wait to
us.
show you
Thank
guys
queen.
these ones because they're just like
Yeah.
beautiful, like to die. So if you guys like her stuff, I bought my sticker pack at Francis in Phoenix. If you guys are familiar, if not, check out her Instagram. The link's in her bio to shop her stuff. So yeah, Sage, you've been awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on. We're so thankful to have you in the closet. And thank you for being our first guest. And everybody else, thank you so much for listening. If you're still tuning in, we love you. We appreciate you.
Wash your cups.
Wash your cups. Don't cry. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Da-da-da-da.